In the next 30 minutes, I'll walk you through the exact one-page system I use to make my art goals inevitable. Because if you don't plan your art goals, this is what's going to happen. You'll start strong for a week. You'll miss a few days, you'll feel rusty, you'll overthink the next sketch, and the sketchbook stays closed. And not because you're lazy or not talented enough, because you're relying on motivation, and that's a terrible plan. So, let's do something different this year. Let's build a plan that works even when life gets busy, because we know it will. In the next 30 minutes, I'll walk you through the exact one-page system I use to make my art goals inevitable. And yes, writing it down actually matters. When you write goals down, they get clear, they feel more real, and you're more likely to follow through, especially when you add a simple plan and accountability. So follow along with me, and by the end of this video, you'll have one clear goal for the upcoming year, a weekly sketch habit that survives busy weeks, an if-then plan for artist's block, and a signed contract with yourself so you stop restarting. You ready? Let's grab a pen, piece of paper, or this printable planning worksheet that I've prepared for you, linked down below, and let's plan your best sketching year ever. So, welcome again, and congratulations for showing up for yourself. That's actually the hard part. We'll just look at the past year, we reflect a little, that's the first section that we have here, and then we move it forward. And it'll be more practical. We'll be building systems. We will not be relying on motivation or emotions. We'll build systems and habits. And that's what actually gonna help us keep the consistency that we're all after. We start with a little bit of reflection here, looking at the past year. So we'll use the 3-2-1 technique or framework. We'll focus on 3 wins from the past year, 2 things that worked and that helped us in some way, and 1 thing that we don't want to, bring to the upcoming year. We just stop it, we change it. Take a minute. This should take all in all 3-4 minutes. Don't overthink it. Start with your 3 wins when it comes to your art practice, sketching, building any creative skills. If you're a professional in any creative area, architect, designer, industrial designer, interior designer, landscape, anything like that, and this is a career progressing skill for you, keep it focused on that creative part of your profession. Let's start with the 3 wins and let's write them down. It can be super small, super tiny, something where you showed up. Maybe you finished a course. Maybe you finished just 1 lesson from a course. Maybe you showed up on a day that you didn't feel like it, right? Anything like that from the past year that pops to your head that you consider a win. It bears repeating that it's really important to write by hand. There's something about, again, connecting our minds and hands in a very simple way and making it more real. So keep it in hand. For me, the things that kind of stood out were kind of all events in a way where I got to meet people in real life. Whether it was urban sketching retreat in Prague that we hosted with Alan Ramiro for a week, or it was a talk in the USA where I get to meet dozens and dozens of other professionals, or the online retreat, which had a huge impact and a huge ripple effect. Moving forward, 2 things that worked for you. You can think of it as what helped you draw more, or what made it easier. Again, don't overthink it. Maybe it was some kind of new tools. I was very excited about my new watercolor tools and new brushes and the modular system from Lindner. And I gotta say, I was beyond surprised by the school community that we've built. That actually helped me kind of be more accountable, show up more, and be also more mindful about my own practice. Now, 1 change, 1 thing that I'd like to stop. Maybe you waited too long for inspiration. Maybe you didn't know what to draw. Maybe you were overthinking. In that case, that makes 2 of us. I know for me, I was inconsistent. So there is a little note. My lesson is, I want you to finish that sentence based on the thing that you want to stop, that you want to change. In my case, my lesson is that I start time blocking my practice into every week. If it's not scheduled, it's not real, right? It's got to be in the calendar. On another note, I was just listening to a lot of podcasts about planning, and one advice was that if we want to start something new, we can't just add it to the plate. We have to drop something in order to pick something else up. Instead of TV, maybe instead of Netflix every evening, there'll be 2-3 times of practice in the evening instead of that. So we're not adding more to the plate, we're switching from one thing to another. We will not be probably performing at a higher capacity in the next year. We should take the capacity that we are at as the benchmark. All right, moving on. My 3 wins in 2026. You can think of this as in looking from the future. You can say by December 31st, 2026, my 3 wins for that year are. So we go from reflection to direction, and you can imagine yourself 12 months from now, looking back at the past year. What were your 3 wins for that year? What is it that you want to achieve? What is the outcome? What is the result you want in this upcoming year? And look at it as it has already happened. So what are the 3 wins for you? My wins are that I will improve at watercolor. This is a little bit generic, right? So I actually know I gotta be more specific and improve at mixing colors, focus on edges, soft versus hard edges, and also values. They're so important. So I want to focus on these and really improve my control of all of them with watercolor. Be as specific as you can get. We also discussed the topic for my new e-book. I've shared a poll across the community in my newsletter and on Instagram, and pretty much everybody was most excited about the 99 fun sheets. So I'm actually going for it. I've already started working on it. I'm very, very excited, and I'll be sharing more in the community in the upcoming weeks. And the community on school is also what I want to keep on improving and building. But now I have 3 kind of priorities, and there can be only one priority. So the really good question is, which one would make the other ones easier? And for me, if I improve at watercolor and I can translate it into practice, then I can share in the 99 fun sheets. And it's also something what I would love to share in the community. It kind of is more foundational and helps the other 2 goals or wins as well. So find the lever that can help the other goals to be more achievable as well. And really, really make sure to circle just one, because if you don't pick one, your year will become noise. Now is the time to make a decision, and this question can help. What is the one thing that makes the other things a little easier? Moving forward, this worksheet has a nice flow, so everything that we write down will have impact on the next thing. So you can think of it as reflection, you can think of this as the what, the outcomes, the results that we want, and now we'll figure out the how, and it's quite straightforward. My one skill for 2026, I call mine watercolor confidence. And the habit is, how do I actually improve that skill? That's the mechanism to help me with that. So I'll practice watercolor 3 times per week for 1 hour. Let's be specific. Let's be measurable and specific. You want to go for some frequency or some length, something that you can measure. What we can measure, we can manage. It can be vague. In a sense, like, I just want to improve at watercolor. That's not good enough. Now we want to be more detailed, more specific. What exactly do we want to improve at? And what is the habit? What is the one habit that will help us get there? Useful tip is that your habit should be absolutely realistic and achievable, and it should be actually much lower than your ambition, right? There's always a gap between our skill and our taste, so keep it realistic. I think I can find 1 hour 3 times in a week. And if I don't, we'll have a mechanism for that as well. So we keep it super achievable. Now, WOOP framework, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. Basically, the wish and the outcome is why this matters. Why it's actually important, why it matters. So put it in a sentence for a wish in a way. My example would be, I want to become confident with watercolor. The outcome is a little more tangible in a way. Where do I want to arrive? The outcome for me is I've created a style of watercolor illustrations that feel like me, that's really like brings me joy. It's a repetitive process that is reliable, something like that. So I'll have my own way of tackling and approaching watercolor illustrations. The important part of WOOP, I think, is the obstacle part. The obstacle part is very often inner. It's more emotional, is actually what's holding me back. Knowing myself, I'm a professional overthinker. So probably for me, it's overthinking, which creates so much friction for me that I don't get to practice because I'm overthinking what to practice, when to practice, what is it I want it for, is this really what I should be focusing on now, is there something else, I'm overthinking. So let's tackle that. And I think we have a nice note here, track proof, not perfection. So it's really not about failing or not, it's about showing up. That's what matters. Consistency and showing up. So we'll have an if-then mechanism to what we will do if the obstacle shows up, if there is a block. So this is basically what we are dealing with here is anti-sabotage plan. What to do when, life happens, when we happen, when we're self-sabotaging, either when it's overthinking, fear of failure, procrastination, whatever it might be. So if that happens, then I will do some tiny action, bare minimum, that will just get me going. If I overthink, replace this with whatever your obstacle is, then I will do just 5-minute gradient practice. And again, in my case, it's still related to watercolor. So whatever your goal is, whatever your win is, and skill and habit, it's still related to that. So you can see a thread, you can see the connection, the flow between those, right? So this is the if-then, super important sentence that will help us see this through. As they say, a psychotherapist would tell us, if you put it in words, you kind of take away its power. So this is really important. And I know this inner work, overcoming limiting beliefs and even just acknowledging them, that's really hard and takes some time. So I hope this tool will help you overcome those. We're going to seal it. And don't worry, this is not overly ambitious. This is a very realistic plan and contract that we're about to sign with ourselves. So this last part is about minimum, reality check, and the contract. The minimum is this, right? Something super simple, stupidly simple, that we can do on our worst day. This is what we are planning for the tired days when life happens and it, throws at us some curveballs, because we know it happens. We know that. Go with the minimum, as little as 5 minutes something. 5-minute gradient practice for me. How many sessions of 5-minute practice can I do in a normal week? I'll go for 3. If life is somewhat at its usual. In a bad week, I think I should still be able to do at least 1. In a bad week, let's not go for less than 1. This is to protect our practice and consistency and prevent us from getting zero. That's what this is all about, right? So this at the very tired days, when life happens, when things don't go our way, what is the kind of bare minimum that we can do to keep this up? About the practice, and this is about the Q, aka habit stacking. If you've read Atomic Habits, it's a really good practice to stack the habits on top of each other, adding the habit after something you already do every day. It can be brushing your teeth, it can be your morning coffee, it can be your lunch break, it can be putting your kids to bed. Something that happens every day and will happen every day or on most days. It's a really good idea to stack the habit, especially if it's a new habit, after something that happens every day, right? So it's easier to get this habit built up and started. In my case, after my morning coffee, I like to keep my mornings creative. The creator's schedule and manager's schedule. So creator's schedule is in the morning, manager's schedule is in the afternoons. So after my morning coffee, roughly at, let's say, 9 a.m. in my home studio, where I am right now. So that's where I'll do the minimum, if not the full practice, but at least the minimum. And now we completely seal it in the contract, and we'll say, I will practice gradients for 5 minutes at 9 a.m. and I'll say Monday, Wednesday, Friday in my home studio. And when life allows, and this is the full goal, so now we go here, I will paint for 1 hour. Again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I have both the minimum and the normal standard week inside the contract, but it shouldn't drop below the minimum. And now it's just a very positive thought of any reward. Super tiny, it shouldn't be a huge bribery. Super tiny reward for sticking to this new habit and to this contract. And now we should say date and signature. So we start on January 15th. And your signature. For me, the reward will be my new or restarted hobby of recent, which is a rapid game of chess. It's just 10 minutes, so that's doable. And also, you will keep this whole sheet, and you have a tracker down below with boxes. And I think there are 25 of them to get you started. It's not overwhelming, and it can be based on your frequency. It can be daily, it can be weekly. For me, it will be probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Whatever fits what you've set up, okay? The thing is, we're all about consistency here, and consistency loves community. So I want you to share, not everything, but I want you to share what's your one skill, one habit, what's your if-then statement, and your contract sentence. I want you to share it inside the community. You can do it under this video.